ZZ109FM Talk Radio. This is Elsie Jenkins. Lord have mercy. Got a show for you beautiful people out there today. Controversial show. Lord, I was told not to do this show, but that's all right. I think it needs to be done. Lord, it has to be done. People have to talk about this thing. It's a situation. Nonetheless, in the studio to help me out is 10th grade education. Bob, why are you shaking and shivering over there? Talk to me, Bob. Talk to me. Oh, Miss Jenkins, you should not be doing this show. And I don't understand why you got me up in here. I'm getting in trouble just like you. Well, that's too bad, Bob. You're in here, you're going to get in damn trouble. You're a white man. I need a white man in the damn studio when I'm talking about white people. And that's what I'm going to do today. Talks about some white people and black people. Don't you black people think you get out of this one? No, we're going to talk about it. Why are we talking about white people and black people today? Well, we're talking about whites men's and blacks men's. That's right. That's what we're talking about. So let's get it out in the open. Get your coffee, get your damn vodka in your coffee. I got 16 shots in my coffee cup, and it's a big one, so you know I'm about to get my drink on as we go into this talk radio show. Let's go. Women on the planet. Women on the planet. There's many women on the planet out here working, trying to be wives, housewives. Many roles women can play. Many roles. The area of focus today is on selection. Because every woman out here doesn't have to be with anybody. She can be single. You can also choose a mate, a man. Another show would be choosing a woman. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about getting with a man. Well, rule 101 of schooling on this whole process, you just don't get with anybody on the planet. No, you have to look over them well. You have to make sure that they have not just one characteristic that you like, but multiple characteristics that make up them as a person that allows you to like them. Because you could get one good thing and 25 bad things. And you're just so happy with that one good thing, you overlook the 25 bad things. It's that damn simple. And we're going to go ahead and throw the misconception out here that sexual activity does not generate the end all on the selection process. Sometimes you end up with the not so well-to-do sexual partner, but you know what? You got everything else. And vice versa. You could have all the goodies in the world, but no good sexuality. That's a terrible thing if you got it going on like that. But you got everything you need. You got your money. Got your selection of whatever you want on the planet. Just gotta do without. There's ways around that, but we ain't talking about that. No, that's another damn show. Lord have mercy. Get your batteries put them on pause. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. No, Lord have mercy. No, Lord, we talks about that another time. What we talking about today is very simple. Selection process. Now, why all of a sudden do I throw this controversial selection process show out here? See, there's a reason for this. And I've noticed, and you notice, take a look when you watch TV now. Watch these commercials. Watch them good. I've noticed that every other commercial's got a white man with a black woman or white woman with a black man. What's going on with that? Some subliminal. What's going on with that? Take a look to these commercials and tells me if you sees it too. They's got these people mixing up the congregation of love on the commercials. Now, what's the difference? Why does it matter? It's a commercial about a product, but someone is focusing on the fact that the two people in the commercial that have this relationship are a mixed couple. I just thought that was interesting. Very interesting. But you see, there's an explanation. If you look around you, you're going to see a lot of black women, and this is what we're focusing on today, a lot of black women are no longer looking for black men to settle down with. They're either looking for another woman or a white man. Now, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on? What could be causing such a flip-flop in the relationship game out here? We're going to talk about it. There's a lot of factors involved. A lot of factors. But we're going to focus on a controllable factor. I believe all the factors are controllable. This one is a little bit more in the controllable window. Or is it? Or is it? Let's start start off with the roots of this whole situation here. Let's start off with that. And Bob, you can jump in, jump out. You ain't got but a 10th grade education, so I don't expect you to jump in any of this controversy. But if you feels like she want to say something, goes right ahead. Yeah, okay, I get it, but I ain't getting in trouble with you. If that's what you talking about, you ain't gonna get in trouble. No one's gonna stop me from talking about this. Let's get down to this. Another thing that kind of fueled me with this is I have some roommates, and if you keep up with some of the stuff we talk about, Miss Bahamas and her stupid boyfriend, uh, this is a good scenario here because you've got a man trying to be a man, but is making all the wrong decisions, and their relationship is like a roller coaster because of the decisions that actually both of them make. But you're with a man that makes bad decisions. What happens if you put yourself in a position where you are with a man that makes good decisions? And what happens if that man happens to be white? That's why we're here in this show, in this situation, because if it's a white man making better decisions, allowing you to have better chances and opportunities, why not go for it? Why maintain in a relationship where someone keeps making bad decisions? Now, white people make bad decisions. They have in the past. So they're not immune to making bad decisions. We see them making bad decisions all the time. Now, I'm just going to be honest with why I think that black women's is taking a damn chance with white men's is. I think the word is desperation. You're desperate. Why? Because, the populations of prisons are full of all kinds of men, but there's a whole lot of black men in prison. Your selection is not as abundant, I would say. But nonetheless, you got a lot of black men in prison, they can't help you outside the prison. And bills have to get paid. Anyone that goes back and forth to prison can't be around to pay the bills when they're in prison. So who's going to pay them? This mindset that women have, I don't care what color you are. Some women are overachievers, and their incomes show that. But there's a large majority of women that just go out here and do their part. They don't play the part. They just do their part. And doing your part sometimes means your income never meets your significant other's income. That's a mindset because you can make just as much money as a man. You just have to work twice as hard. Nothing has changed. But there's this mindset that a particular woman has in her mind that, you know what, I'm just going to do what I got to do, and he's going to do everything else. The little bit that you do doesn't cover everything that has to be done. It never does. But you think because you're beautiful, you're a wife, you're the significant other that he's chosen, that you get a pass on financially making sure that everything gets taken care of. You just got to play your part. That's the mindset of this particular woman we're talking about today. This is the mindset of this particular woman that's going to pick a black man or a white man. Now, I can tell you now, most of your younger women get out here and they experience the black man because they're black. That's their race. And I'll tell you right now, you're going to experience what I see Ms. Bahamas has experienced. It's an immature person. Their priorities, and not all of them, but I'm telling you now, majority of their priorities are not in line with their financial success. Now, let's go over this first area first because it says it's not a factor, but I really believe it is. And let's take a look. There's no credible evidence showing that white men are more responsible with money than black men. When researchers study financial behavior, they consistently find that race itself is not the cause of differences in saving, debt, wealth. Instead, the differences come from systems and circumstances, not personal responsibility tied to race. Let me tell you something. These movies out here, a lot of these movies kind of give you hints on life. And I think that's brilliant, and I think it's a good way to learn about life. If you ever get a chance, you need to see the movie Trading Places. Trading Places with Eddie Murphy in it and Dan Aykroyd. This movie gives up tons of secrets. And the main secret is the two rich, wealthy men who come from foundations of the opposite of what this is saying. There's no credible evidence showing that white men are more responsible for money than black men. If you have a silver spoon in your mouth when you are born on the earth, you're already born into responsible money. Most black men don't have that privilege of being born into responsible money. It makes a difference, especially if you are born into responsible money and you never get to see the irresponsible side of it. You always know to maintain a responsible level with the money. A lot of black men don't get that chance. They have to build that opportunity from the bottom on up to the top. So let's take a look at this. What really affects financial outcomes? Income gaps. Black Americans have historically had fewer opportunities for high-paying jobs due to discrimination and unequal access to education and hiring networks, blah, blah, blah. Present today. Generational wealth. White families have assets passed down, homes, savings, land, which they stole, of course, Lord have mercy. Many black families were excluded from wealth-building programs like GI Bill housing, FHA loans, and fair banking. Yeah, that's that teeter-totter of wealth. You got that silver spoon, white man, and you got that plastic spoon, black man. Access to credit. Black borrowers are more likely to be denied loans or charged higher interest even with the same credit score. Even with the same credit score. Criminal. But true. These are factors nonetheless. Community banking access. Some neighborhoods have fewer banks, more predatory lenders, which affects financial stability. And none of these factors are about personal responsibility or capability. They're about systems, history, and access. Personal responsibility is important because everyone has a chance to change their situation by making better decisions. You make better decisions, you learn from your mistakes, your factors can be reversed, your factors can be improved. Wrong decisions, your factors can go downhill. You can see a lack of success because of decisions you're making that are detrimental to your success. And that's where we are with this white man, black man thing. Which of the two are making the decisions for success? Because black women have to choose somebody to be with. And what are they going to choose? Someone that is making decisions for success? Or someone that's making decisions for just the opposite of that? We look at these pictures as we go through and we see the variables here. We've got the white man and black man standing side by side. Same pants, same shirt. But there's definitely a difference between these two. And we're going to talk about that today. There's a difference. I've experienced some of these things. I understand some of these things. And there's a reason why some of these things are happening to black men. And the reason they don't happen to white men or other black men is because they choose not to do these things. We can be on the same level as long as I choose to do the same things you choose to do without deviating. As soon as I do something outside of what we're both doing that's going to detrimentally take me down, then I'm no longer on your level. And that's what black men constantly are doing. Now, white men aren't perfect. Neither are black men. But the bottom line is, who's making the better choices between the two, white men and black men? Who's making the better choices? Who keeps making excuses? And then based on what we said initially, who's got the advantage from the get-go, from the start of the race? Who has the advantage? Look at these two. They got the same shirt on. They got the same pants on. They both have clean-cut looks. But you know what? One clearly has an advantage over the other before they even start racing. Now, the disadvantage is what's causing the problem. And the disadvantage is what's keeping black men out of the race. That's what we're going to be talking about next. Relationships together, you got your man, you got your woman, okay? When you get in a relationship together, you decide, you know what, let's go to the next step. Next step could be maybe just kind of moving in together so you can kind of learn about each other. It happens. But it's a next step nonetheless. This next step is interesting because now you're going to start learning about their finances, about their honesty, about their trust, about their way of managing their money, about their love making, a lot of stuff you ain't supposed to be doing until you're married. But Lord have mercy, that's another damn show. But you're going to start learning things about this person. Now, the question is, what are you going to learn from a black man that's going to discourage you? What are you going to learn from a black man that's going to discourage you and to look over to that other side and see that white man and see something that is supposed to be more promising than what you already have? That's the scenario. These black women don't start off with white men and then find out, oh, you know what, I need to go over to a black man. No, they're starting off with their own race of men to find out that there's so many discrepancies that they want to move over and take a look at the other side of the spectrum. Yeah, it's that simple. You're burning bridges on this side of the spectrum, and then the women say, the hell with this. This consistent circle of just getting nowhere is not for me. It makes it much easier for a white man to step in and say, hello, I've got everything squared away here. Come take a look. Makes it so easy because you done already burnt all the bridges of communication for all these areas we're talking about here. Money, goals, budget, honesty, expectations, everything. You done burnt the bridges on the black side, and now they're going to go take a look at the white side to see what's going on over there. Who wants to stay in misery all day life? Who wants to be surrounded by the same old pitfalls that you create for yourself all your life? You create these pitfalls. We're going to talk about it. So, black men, what is the problem? And this is where the controversy comes in. Because when you tell somebody that their shoes untied, but they keep walking till they trip, who's to blame? The person that warned you about your shoe or the person that didn't tie it? Bob, can you answer that question? At least without thinking you're going to lose your job? Oh, it's pretty simple. The person that didn't tie their shoe. Because you don't listen, you go trip and fall. Absolutely. Sipping on some delicious coffee with this show here, and I tell you right now, it is absolutely the wearer of the shoe's fault that you tripped, because you always can get a warning. But if you don't take time to tie your damn shoe, the inevitable can happen. Doesn't mean it will happen, but it can happen. Because some people can walk with a shoe untied and never fall down. That's just the way things roll sometimes. The bottom line is, how many times do you have to experience something negative? See that it's an issue and then fix it so you don't have to deal with it as an issue anymore. How many times? Well, when you're experiencing an irresponsible person, it's only so many times you can deal with a situation. It's only so many times. If it's affecting you, you have to make a decision eventually. Because if it keeps affecting you in a negative way, and they're making a decision that's causing this, you just got to separate yourself from the decision making. And put yourself in a better position where someone makes better decisions. In the mindset of some of these black women, these white men are making better decisions. And when they go over to experience the white man, guess what they're making? Better decisions. So let's break it down. What are these decisions that black men aren't successful in? That's right. What black men are not being successful at? And to lose a woman in regards to one decision doesn't make sense, because one decision shouldn't cause a relationship to go down the tubes. It's usually multiple things you're doing that cause people to look at you and say, why are you doing these things? So let's break it on down. This is the part where people are not going to be happy, because we're about to break it the hell on down right now. Why is this black woman with this white man? Why? Why is she with him? Well, let's take a look at the reasons why. Because whatever one person's doing, the other one isn't. So keep that in mind as we talk about this. Whatever one person is doing, the other one is not. So the black man is not doing these things we're about to talk about, and the white man is. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If there's a right way to do things, then we should be doing things the right way to get the same success. So that information's out there. It's not a secret how to do these things and have success. It's just the choices that one person is making in a roundabout way to not do them in a right way that is causing problems in the relationship. That's causing problems with their success in the relationship. One factor that definitely causes issues in all relationships is money. And we talked about money in the beginning. And white men make money issues seem simple. And the reason why is because most white men already have money. It ain't money that they created, it's money that they generated from wealth. So they follow the rules from day one to the time that they're released out into the world. They have access either to money that they have created with that knowledge, money that they have received with that knowledge, and even money that they can go back and get at any time because the family comes from wealth. Now, not to say that black people can't come from wealth, but in most of the scenarios we're talking about, these black people aren't coming from that kind of line of wealth. So you can see why when you look over across the table, you see the white man over there sitting comfortably with a smile is because he's financially comfortable through generational wealth. But the black man look over there is kind of discouraged because the generational wealth line is not afforded to him. So when we're talking about money, make sure you look at it on that level. This white man could actually stay at home for a week and still pay his bills. This black man probably can't do that. Another week go by, the white man still can pay his bills. This black man may not be able to do that. You add 2 weeks to the white man's time frame and he's like, I can make a phone call and still be at home. This black man can't do that. So you got to look at the situation. Look at the white man. Where's the anxiety? Where's the pressure? Any panic going on that white man's side of the room? What about the black man? Well, if we all know how bill collectors work, they all want their money. No one cares what color you are. No one cares your situation. They all want their money. And as long as you can keep giving them their money, they don't care if you go to work or not. But realistically, you can't sit somewhere and think that the bills are going to get paid because then if you don't have anything to fall back on, they will come for you, they will remove you, they will take your things. It's that simple. So money is a big issue in relationships because money is needed to be able to allow the relationship to nest and either grow or self-destruct. Because you can get enough money to move out, move into a place, but now you don't have no income. What you gonna do? Sit and wait for them to come by and ask you for the rent? The electric company's gonna want to know where their next electric bill money is at. Yeah, you pay the deposit, but you have no income to pay anything else. Everything looks good when you first move in until you look at your status. You have no income. You have no income to maintain, and that's where we're at here. Maintaining. So, communication. You can have all the money in the world, but if you have no communication between the woman and the man in regards to how we're going to manage the money, there's going to be a big problem. A lot of black men are not good communicators right away. It's something that has to build and develop. A lot of white men are kind of trained to be communicators in the beginning because they have to be the successors to manage the wealth. So they're given goals that are driven to get them to this point from the beginning. A lot of black men don't get those kind of goals because there's nothing to drive them towards. There's no wealth to kind of push them forward and give them financial goals to start developing at 8 or 9 or 10 years old. There's nothing there. So a lot of times, that first relationship is the first time they're actually going to start communicating about money. And pride, the inability to be humble and say, I don't have any money. Being honest and say, I don't know how to budget my money. I don't know how to save. I don't know how to invest. I don't know how to prioritize. These are things that 9 times out of 10, the white man has already dealt with, had success with, and now is accomplished before he gets in that relationship. It's what they need to have in order to maintain the wealth that they already have established through generational wealth. Now, the black man on the other end is learning as he goes. It's almost like taking apart an engine for the first time. Yeah, taking it apart is not a problem, but putting it back together is going to be an issue because you've never put it back together. So, open communication about money. This talk regularly about income, bills, debt, and goals, and spending habits without hiding purchases or avoiding hard conversations. The conversations for black women and black men are hard because no one can just come to the table and honestly sit down and say, I don't know. The relationship was established on a I am the lion and you are the lioness kind of meeting. But what does a lion know? Most lions are supposed to know how to hunt, take care, protect. Does the black man know how to hunt, take care, and protect? And the mindset, hunting is going out and getting that bag, getting that money. You can do the math on what you need. So a little bit of education would be helpful in trying to get that bag, get that money. So how does the black lion take care of the lioness without those tools? Let's take a look at the next area, shared financial goals. Well, you've got to be successfully financially to be able to share a successful financial conversation with another person. And the problem with a lot of black men, the first time they're trying to do this, they never bought a home. They never paid off debt. They never built their savings. They never invested. They never planned for a vacation. These are a lot of nevers that you've never done. But I'm going to tell you right now, the white man has done every last one of these things 9 times out of 10, minus buying a home. But it's not too far off to believe that a wealthy white man can buy a home at a young age. How many black men do you know have bought a new home at a young age? Unless you're blessed to be able to make it in the NBA, make it into Major League Baseball, be a few of the black people in hockey. Hit the lottery. And the lottery don't mean you're financially capable. It's still an education process that you have to go through and be successful before you grab a whole lot of money and try to manage it. I know people that haven't been on a vacation. But you know what? They also sit around and have absolutely nothing. What do they have to show for over the age of 35 years old? When you have nothing to show for at 35 years old, that's not a good thing. Next area, realistic budget. One area I like to enforce is one of the two of y'all have to be smarter than the other. One of the two of y'all have to be able to get what we're talking about here. And when you have two people that don't get what we're talking about here, I call them stupid people. That's what you are. And stupid is not a disease. It's something you choose to be. You choose to be stupid. You do not choose to read and educate and become more advanced in your knowledge space to be able to tackle these things. So stupid is a choice, not a disease. Now, a realistic budget, all it is mathematics. And if you don't know how to do math because you didn't sit in that classroom and pay attention to your damn teacher, then that's your fault. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. If I have to take 1 away from 4, it's 3. And this is the same damn math you do when you're managing your money, when you're going over your bills, when you try to figure out how much money did you make this week and how much money did I make this week. And together we put that together and we see how much we have to spend. And then we decide what's important, etc., etc., etc. Create a monthly plan for necessities, saving, fund, emergencies. A budget reduces stress and prevents confusion about where money is going. And that is the key that is driving black women away. Stress and confusion. No woman wants to live with stress and confusion. Why is there stress and confusion? Because somebody of the two of them is not being clear to where the money is going. Now, this is that trust and honesty area. You marry someone for better or worse, but you're supposed to trust them. You're supposed to be honest with your significant other. And, if a black man is not going to be trustworthy and honest, then a black woman is not going to keep dealing with someone like this. When you're trying to go to Prize Picks and bet and win, Why not be honest? Because we got an extra $5,000. We got an extra $2,000. We got an extra $1,000. We got an extra $500. Well, yeah, you want to be honest because you've got extra. This is all positive. This is a reason to celebrate. Yes, yes, yes. But if you're losing these same amounts and you're trying to find a way to get the money back, most people just can't be honest and say, the rent money, I lost it in prize picks. No, you're going to get a roundabout answer, but you're not going to get the truth. I'll get it. I'll get it. Just give me a little bit more time. That's not the truth. The truth is you did something with the money and you weren't successful and you lost the money. That's the first answer you should have provided. Now, the response you're going to get from that person is realistic response is do not do that with our money. We don't have the money for you to be gambling and losing. We don't. That's the response you get from someone that's on the other end of the spectrum. Is like, no, we don't do that. We don't gamble our money and lose it. If they can get the information. But see, a lot of people hide that information, dishonestly tell an answer to try to give them time to get the money. Some people go in, they play another ticket, they win, they get the money back. Here's the money. Don't explain how they got it, but here's the money, I got it. And keep going on with this back and forth with the trust and honesty on the financing, the money. Red flag, because this can affect your stress and cause confusion. Who wants to live with stress and confusion when you're dealing with these small little issues that someone has? Don't get it wrong. Excuse me. Don't get it twisted. You have to realize that you can lose a lot of money gambling. And gambling can put you in situations that you inevitably can't get out of. It is usually one-sided. One of the two people in the relationship is gambling. And guess who we're talking about today? Mr. Black Man. Yes. Causing stress and confusion about where the money is going. So money's needed in a relationship. But if you're going to be doing things that causes stress and confusion because no one knows where the money is going, it's a hard hill to climb in that relationship game you're dealing with. And now, it happened one time, that's okay. But constantly happening, it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed because sooner or later, when you don't have money for this, you don't have money for that, and you can't get the money back, who's going to come up with the money? Now, most good financial teams have an emergency savings, okay? A shared emergency fund that creates stability when unexpected expenses happen, like car repairs, medical bills, job loss. And don't say nothing there about gambling. Do we got to add that to it too? Your emergency fund is for when your gambler don't do good. I think you should add it on there too because it would take less stress and there will be no confusion. I know you're going to try to win some extra money, so we've got that covered in our emergency savings. Makes more sense than to hide it from somebody and try to sugarcoat when you don't have the money to pay the bills. Just flat out say, I'm going to gamble. Let's put the money that we need if I lose in the emergency savings. That way, if I lose, I just go there, I tell you, we take it out, we replenish it, and then we keep moving. That makes more sense. Now there's no stress or confusion as to what happens to your money. You don't have to sit there and say, I'll get it, when you're supposed to have it. But see, black men don't think this way. Maybe a white man would be smart to say, well, I'm going to have a little gambling kitty in here, honey. So when I go gamble, if I lose, I'll just come out here and get the money, put it back. Makes sense. It's called communication. It's something that black men don't do. Most black men. Moving right along. Money style. So if you don't have a money style, meaning a particular way of saving and spending, then two people that don't have money styles means that you just spend. For example, one person saves while the other one enjoys spending. Understanding each other's habits creates a balance instead of a conflict. Or if you're both spenders, who's saving? Who's managing? Who's making sure that things are straight? That's what you get sometimes when you look over to the spectrum and say, oh, let me go ahead and jump over here to Mr. White Man. Because he might see that there is a reason to be a saver versus a spender. Now, most women are spenders because they don't save. They're spenders. They don't have much money to spend. So usually their money is theirs to spend. That's why they're spenders. But if they had to manage the entire process of rent, mortgage, bills, investing, expenses, they wouldn't be spenders. They'd be savers because they have to cover all these expenses. makes a difference when you have to cover all these expenses. You have to take the priority is these expenses first, whatever's left over is mine. That's how the main mindset that runs any household thinks. I don't leave the insurance policies abandoned and go take care of what I want to take care of in my gambling first. This insurance policy gets paid first. Then I see if there's anything left to gamble with. If I'm a gambler, you don't gamble with the rent or the mortgage money. You pay them people first because they're the first ones to come after you. Black men living within your means. Let's go back a bit. Clear division of responsibility. So this is another area of red flagness in the relationship. Who is going to be responsible? This is where this is equivalent to who is the smarter of the two of you in a relationship. One of you's got to be smarter than the other. That smart person has to decide who handles the bills, savings, tracking, investing, taxes, budgeting, so important tasks don't get ignored, like the tags on your car. Someone has to know that they have to be renewed next month, and they have to already know how that money is going to get it over to that goal so it can get accomplished, so you're not riding around with expired tax. One of the two, you got to figure it out. If both of y'all in a relationship and then you're riding around together and get pulled over and the tags are expired, it means that neither one of y'all are managing your relationship financially. Now, believe it or not, some people like to roll like that. This is my boo. He got expired tags. I don't give a damn. This is my boo. Okay. Well, your boo's going to end up locked up eventually because this trickles over to other things. Now, what's not in this lineup of things we're talking about is weed. Because you know what? Weed is something that everybody seems to need. It's not on the budget. Yeah. And, weed has come a long ways from the time that I used to hear about it, called reefer. But now you can get weed on credit. Amazing, ain't it? Get weed now and pay later. What a business. Not to say that I might go into the weed business, but I tell you, it sounds promising. Bob, what do you think? No, I ain't doing it because I'm getting in trouble for that too. Well, just imagine, someone is out there getting weed on time but not putting it in the budget, and next thing you know, you're short money. If you're short money, where does the money go? And this is where that conversation comes up again between the black woman and the black man. I know you're smoking weed, but how are you paying for it? With our savings money, with our, investment money? I mean, do you have it in the budget? If it's in the budget to buy weed, then it makes sense. You can clearly see. There's no anxiety. There's no confusion. You can see that you're going to spend $50 to $100 to buy you some weed. And for some people, it's every week. You got to put that in the budget. Now, what happens is some people living within their means, how much you can afford. Now, if you can't afford to buy weed, but you still buy it and you try to live your lifestyle, then you're going to find yourself short financially because your budget doesn't allow you to buy weed, but you still find a way to buy it and you just hold things off until you can get around to it. That's how you end up with expired tags not getting renewed, bills falling on the wayside, and playing catch up financially. When a black woman goes to the mailbox and gets the mail, because that's what they usually do, and checks the mail and sees what we got, bills, because you're going to hand them over to the breadwinner, she's going to be the first one to see those notices that say, oh, you didn't pay this. Oh, you didn't pay that. Oh, this is due. Oh, this is overdue. What does it cause? It causes stress and confusion. Because you're under the impression that they're getting paid. You're under the impression that he's taking care of the bills. But when you see a eviction notice, and you're like, I'm not paying the rent. I don't make enough money to pay the rent. He said he paid the rent. What happened to the rent money? It creates anxiety and stress and confusion. Yeah. Now, these people that you live with and you start to learn about, hopefully you can do this before you're married. Because if you're married and learning this, it can be stressful that you have now committed yourself to someone who has no ability to manage and maintain financially. They're just doing it on a whim, just like you're doing it on a whim. They're no smarter than you are financially. Some people make it seem like they are, but 9 times out of 10, they're not. You can tell from those notices that come in the mail. Them bills are not getting paid. So sometimes we do things ass backwards. We're already planning for a future, but you really ain't got the means to do it because you don't have any tools to do it, to build your future. And the first tool is usually a budget. You got to know how much money you have to save, to spend, etc. If neither one wants to do a budget, how do you plan for retirement? How do you put away for insurance, investing? What about your external expenses? Long-term dreams. How about putting away for a vacation? A lot of times, that's the reason why people don't go on vacation, because they don't have anything set up to put money aside for a vacation. And when you finally address them and say, well, it's only $400 per person for you to go for the whole 2 weeks, they don't have the $400 because they didn't even put away money for a vacation. They're living like some black people have told me, black men have told me, I live day to day. I don't live for tomorrow. I live for today. Those daily decisions don't plan for the future. Healthy couples approach finances as partners instead of opponents. And that's the other red flag. You against me and I'm against you financially. Oh, everything's fine in the bedroom until we talk about finances. Then everybody wants to shut down and get in their little corner and hold themselves like a little fetal position baby. Working together during financial stress builds stronger trust and stability. When you're in that fetal position in the corner because you're about to talk about the bills, it's because you're starting to stress. One of the signs of stress is withdrawing. Because your inner mind is trying to figure out, how am I going to get around the fact that I'm spending all my money on weed and gambling? How am I going to tell this person? That's why I don't have my money. Because I know she's going to ask me again, where is your money? And I'm trying to win these bets so I can get her off my case. Sometimes you hit a big ticket and you can get her off your case. The problem is, most women accept that large amount coming in and don't even question, why were we in that situation to begin with? We should be taking care of these things as they come in, not when you are ready to do it. If you have the money to pay the bills, why aren't you paying them? Red flag. It's because some of that money is going towards something else to try to gain something else. And if they win, cool. But if they lose, then now you've lost that opportunity to pay that bill because that money is gone. This ain't no rocket scientist we dealing with here. This is very simple shit. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, then this is too simple for you to be listening to. So now we're trying to understand, so why does the white man seem more appealing? Huh? Because there's some internal issues going on with the black man that's causing all these issues. Let's take a look at these issues and see if any of y'all can relate to this out here causing these dramas for people in your relationship. Fear of judgment. A man may worry he earns too little or even too much and fears being treated differently because of it. I can see the too little part. If you're earning too much, how are you having issues? Unless you're doing some of those things we mentioned. You earn a lot of money, but you're losing a lot of money gambling, smoking weed, and just squandering the money on whatever. Instead of just sliding it over to the table, paying everything has to be paid first, seeing you only got a little bit left, and accepting that. That's the problem some people have. They don't want to accept the fact that they only have a little bit left. It is what it is. You want more money, you go earn more money. It's that simple. You're in a relationship with somebody, privacy, financial privacy is not an option. Some people don't want to talk about their check. How the hell you don't talk about your check when it is our check? Whoever the smarter of the two of us is, has to take our combined money and manage it through the budget. So there's no privacy in that. You went to work, you only made $5, just put your $5 on the damn table so we can talk about it. That's all. Something happened, so why you only make $5? Let's talk about it. That's why we're in a relationship. It's a combined team financial relationship. We both need to understand why you made $5 and make some decisions. Some people were raised believing money is personal and shouldn't be discussed openly. And I just experienced that recently. You know, someone asked me, could you please leave for a moment so I can speak to somebody? Well, that somebody spoke to them. But when that somebody came out, they told me what they said. So what the hell did you achieve? You ain't achieved nothing. But they told me that they wanted to take them to the side and ask them about money. You know? And it's real. Some people believe that we shouldn't talk about money openly amongst each other. If you're single, live by yourself, then you can live that way. But if you are in a relationship with somebody, there is no privacy when it comes to your money. The only private money you have is the money you stole away yourself in some stash that you have. You don't have to tell nobody about that stash. But open money for the relationship is not a private matter. It's for both parties to be able to make decisions with. Period. Now, financial relationships in the past should have no bearing on your current relationship because Either you're making more money, you're making less money, or you're making the same amount of money you did before in your other relationship. If it's more money, good. If it's the same money, it shouldn't be an issue. And if it's less money, that may be a problem. Now, the problem with this past relationship thing is, how were you treated in the money dealings between two people? Because this could cause a problem. If someone was criticized or controlled, your money was controlled, or you were used financially, and then found, oh my goodness, he left and took all the money, she left and took all the money, now your next relationship is going to possibly suffer. Because now you're going to look at that person like, are you going to do the same thing? It's a red flag you have to be ready for if you start to see the signs and symptoms of some of these things we're talking about. Control. In some cases, keeping income secret can create power and avoid accountability. Red flag. Accountability is part of this entire scenario. We have to account for every dollar in order to make a budget work. Every dollar has to be accounted for. And some people like to control this information. They like to keep it secret, so there is no accountability. You can't account for the fact I gambled $100 this weekend and lost it. I never told you about it. Won't tell you about it, and I'm going to keep my mouth tightly sealed until I win my $100 back. Or I'll tell you I won $300, but I'm not going to tell you I lost $100. Embarrassed about debt or spending habits. Yeah, losing gambling is embarrassing. Going to work and finding out that you tested positive for drugs and now you're out for a week. Your paycheck is short. It's embarrassing. But in a relationship, you have to come to the table and be clean and say, hey, I went to work, I had a problem. It's going to affect my check. You can go back and forth about how the problem happened, et cetera, but at least you put the information on the table. You're going to be short. We got to take a look at our budget and see how that affects it. It's not a secret you're going to hold on to until finally it's time to pay the bills and you say, well, I ain't got it. What do you mean you don't have it? There goes that stress again and that confusion. A black woman is now stressed because you don't have the money and confused as to how come you don't have it. Because you didn't come back home and tell her you had got laid off for a week on suspension from your job from testing positive from drugs. That would be important information. So she'll understand why you are short on your check. This is simple shit. But people make it complicated because they don't want to be humble and tell the truth. Fear of expectations increasing. They may worry their partner will expect more spending, gifts, or financial support once they know the number that they're making every month. Well, if you're getting up every morning going to work and you leave at 7 o'clock and you don't come back till 10 o'clock at night, the expectation is you're making a lot of damn money for all them hours you go. But you come back and payday comes and you only got $200 to show for. But you've been gone every day, Monday through Friday, for over 10 hours a day. That don't add up. It doesn't add up. Cultural or family influences. Some men grow up hearing a man handles the finances and don't learn open communication about money. And that is a serious problem for a man that doesn't have any budgeting skills, any financial tools to be able to handle the finances. So for a woman to come in a relationship and have this mindset and don't communicate that to a man, she just expects him to handle the finances. You in for a world of hurt when you're dealing with a man that doesn't have any mindset on creating a budget or able to manage his money. It's not going to happen. You're going to find out the hard way when it's time to pay the bills. Now, a small area of concern is uncertainty about the relationship. Not fully committed yet. They may hesitate to fully combine financial transparency. There's no way you can't be committed once you sign a lease. Once you sign a lease with somebody, you both are committing to paying that money every month. And as far as I'm concerned, everything else falls in line with that. Unless you live in separate residence, then you ain't got to commit to nothing. But once you sign a lease, you have to financially put your information on the table so both parties can figure out where we are and how we're going to get where we need to get in the midst of these next 12 months. It shouldn't be a secret. Self-worth tied to income. Many men are taught their value. Hold on here. If Bob, are you over there asleep? Huh? How was you taking a nap? Take no damn nap during this show. Some men are taught their value is connected to how much they earn, making the topic emotionally sensitive. Never heard that one before. Avoiding conflict. If couples argue about money, hiding details can become a defense mechanism. And that's the whole problem with money. You can't hide the details. If your check is short, your check is short. You got to explain Why it's short? Because if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, then you're supposed to get a certain amount. If you don't have that certain amount, then it may affect the budget. If it keeps affecting the budget, someone has to ask why. Why are these things constantly happening? Why is our budget constantly being affected? And it's usually one of the two in the relationship that this keeps happening to. Now, this is where the breakdown comes in. This is the most important part because all these factors are going to cause a relationship between the black woman and the black man to break down. Hiding financial information in a relationship often leads to breakdown of trust over time. Even the original reason seems harmless. Secrecy around money usually creates emotional distance and suspicion. So, relationship's supposed to be about trust, but if you're not financially keeping this relationship afloat, there's going to be a loss of trust. Once a partner discovers the hidden income, the debt, the spending, add gambling to that accounts, they may start questioning other parts of the relationship too. If you're arguing about money all the time, it's because these factors are in place. Confusion and stress. Financial secrecy tends to create confusion about goals, bills, responsibilities, and priorities. All these words are important for a budget to work. All these are the foundations of a budget. Attributes. Emotional disconnection. One partner may feel excluded, controlled, or unimportant if financial decisions are being hidden. Yeah, that's that confusion. Just because I'm not paying all the bills don't mean I need to be confused as to how they're getting paid. That should be information we both should have. Good example is, when someone passes away and they've been handling the bills all their life and now the spouse left over has to handle it and you never communicated to them about how you paid them, which accounts you paid them through, it is stressful. Where do you start? How do you gain access to these things? You got to start somewhere and you got to continue on until you figure it all out. And that brings on stress and anxiety. Emotional disconnection. Yeah, money can make you get disconnected from someone because one partner feels excluded, controlled, unimportant. They're out of the financial loop, but they're not being disconnected from the stress and anxiety of all that. They're still worrying about this eviction notice. They're still worrying about this bill saying they ain't got their money. Why aren't you paying them? Power imbalance. Money secrecy can sometimes become a form of control, especially if one person has more financial knowledge or access. It can be, because if you don't have anything to fall back on, you're at the mercy of the person who has the financial power. Stress and anxiety is what we keep talking about. Stress can make you run away and never come back. Look at some of these pets out here. You see the signs up looking for Fifi, but Fifi got tired of them owners. She got tired of them. She just took off and just started running. So she got hit by a car because it was better than being in that house with them owners. And that's what it's all about, stress. Dogs stress. They have anxiety. And I think after a certain point, dogs get tired. They get sick and tired and they just move on. Red flags, red flags. So you're trying to figure out why you see these commercials with the white man and the black, the black woman and the white man in it. Well, we're going over it today. You know what? Now, all these things we're talking about are making it difficult to build a future together. You can't plan for a home or children or retirement or emergency funds if you don't sit back and sit down and talk about what you have and what you don't have. And some people can't live in an uncertain world. You need to know your signs to figure out what signs they are. But certain signs of the zodiac can't live in uncertainty. This uncertainty creates resentment. Gambling, hidden spending, secret debt, consuming liquor every damn day, concealed savings can create lasting bitterness. Your weed consumption. Now, it's okay if you're both smoking weed, but I mean, when the bills aren't getting paid, is there any anxiety there, or you're just so high it don't affect you? Somebody call in and tell me. Financial infidelity accusations, secret accounts, gambling, hidden purchases, concealed income are often viewed as similar to cheating emotionally. Separation or divorce. So this is where we are in the show. You're trying to figure out how that white man get with that black woman. There you have it. Many relationships end not because of lack of money, but because of dishonesty surrounding the money. The financial lack of management. It is the factor. What side of the bridge you want to be on? Financial security or financial insecurity? Which one? Which one, Bob? I don't know. Now, let's take a look at this. If bills are not getting paid and one person refuses to talk about the finances, the other person should stop treating it like a small communication issue and start treating it like a serious relationship and stability problem. A healthy relationship does not require every dollar, but it requires honesty, transparency about obligations, and teamwork on shared responsibilities. Now, these are the steps that you should look at. Ask for a direct conversation. You have to be calm, and you have to say this in a calm manner. The bills are falling behind. I need to understand what's happening financially. We cannot solve this if we avoid talking about it, Billy. So you see, Billy the black man doesn't want to talk about it. You're encouraging him, hey, we need to understand what's happening with these bills. It's important to try to figure this out. We've got to know. But you see, the humbleness, Billy is humble, and he's gotta be humble to the bills and say, I got some problems that are causing these bills to be what they are. Now it's on the table because it's either a fixable problem or unfixable. But it has to be put on the table. If it's not put on the table, you're going to see stress and confusion. So here we are now. You're wondering, how do people get disconnected from each other financially? Separate secrecy from privacy is wanting personal spending space, separate accounts, independent purchases. If there's plenty of money, then you can do that. But if there's only enough money between the two of you to manage and budget a situation, then there is no money for those additional options. Hiding income, hiding debt, avoiding bill discussions, refusing to explain missing money. Those are the red flags that are going to cause confusion and anxiety. Confusion and anxiety. Now, mistakes that we make as the party of the two that's not handling the bills is verifying the actual financial situation. Do not assume the other person is handling things when it comes to the bills. Don't assume. You have to, if it's a budget that you're dealing with, you have to go through and you have to confirm that, yep, the rent was paid, electric was paid. You may not be paying them, but you got to confirm that they've been paid to make sure that this budget has a checks and balances. When you see one thing may have not gotten paid, it might have just gotten missed. Then you reach out and you say, hey, did you forget about the garbage amount we got to pay for water and stuff like that? Did you forget that? You did? Okay, no problem. You're gonna take care of it. You want me to take care of it? Okay, I'll take care of it. It's that damn simple. Communication, checks and balances. No, the person that you're dealing with is overwhelmed when it comes to debt, because debt is overwhelming, especially if you make just enough money to cover everything. One little problem can cause you not to have the money for all of your debt. When you don't have enough money for all of your debt, you become overwhelmed. Sometimes you're ashamed you can't pay it. You're what you're called in debt when you can't pay your bills. Some people look at you and say, wow, you're financially irresponsible. Because a responsible person would have no debt. They pay their bills. But if you're gambling, who are you going to blame if you're gambling? If you're taking that money that you could budget to see that you don't have the money for, like alcohol, who are you to blame? If you're sending your money to somebody and not telling somebody you're sending that money to them, and now you say, I don't have any money, who are you to blame? Job loss or time at job loss because of drugs, alcohol. Who are you to blame? Well, 9 times out of 10, these kind of people are avoiding accountability. You got to be accountable for all this stuff. I was gambling, I lost. I sent my mom some money. She's in the Bahamas. I sent her $200. I got a week off at job because I crashed the truck. I took the money and bought a drone instead of paying the bills. I mean, financially irresponsible. You can't buy a drone before you pay the electric bill. So it brings us to the last area of concern here. Lord have mercy. You've got your resentment, your distrust, your emotional distance, financial damage, and eventually separation. Because how much can one person take when it comes to financial issues, discipline, loss of trust? How long will it last? How long will people continue to live this way? Some people tolerate it. Some people tolerate it. but there are others that do not. So now the question is, why do we see so many mixed couples, black women, white men? Well, if you look at the perspective, if they're doing everything opposite of what you're doing, then we can reverse the feeling of anxiety, lack of confusion. There's a clear understanding as to where you're going to be tomorrow, the next week, and beyond. That's the whole difference when you're dealing with someone that does not do what needs to be done versus someone that does do what needs to be done. Now, between the two, we see standing here before us, who's doing what needs to be done and who isn't. Is it a color thing? Because you could have white men operate the same way and be financially irresponsible. So it's not a color thing. Color has nothing to do with it. It's about execution. That's the best word to use. Who executes this more than the other? And if you look at the entire program of life, it's leaning more towards the white men execute this more than the black man. There's a lot of factors that put him in that advantageous position. There's a lot of factors. Having a silver spoon in your mouth helps. But then logic. A lot of logic is lost when we use drugs. You can see a lot of people that use drugs go downhill. Doesn't matter what color you are. Using drugs, you choose the wrong decisions. Your decision making is affected when you're under the influence of drugs. It's a fact. It's the truth. It doesn't matter what color you are. So when we factor in this scenario that we see subliminally in the commercials, when you look at these commercials and you see these white men with black women and vice versa, someone is sending some kind of a message. Some kind of message they're trying to send. Because what sense does it make if you got two black people or two white people in a commercial? Why does it matter? Why they got to be interracial every other commercial? What are you saying? What are you not saying? You know, many years ago, you wouldn't see a white person and a black person as a couple on TV. In commercials. Now you do, if you pay attention. So, and we come to the summary of this whole situation. It's very simple. It's very simple. Choices. What choices are we making that are allowing people to say, you know what, I'm just going to go somewhere else and be happy? Because by the time you get to the point where you're separating, a lot of people miss out on the help that's needed to fix that problem before they decide to separate. A counselor, therapist, a debt advisor. I try to infuse a budget into the mindset of two people, and neither one want to address the word budget. And I'm not a counselor. But if somebody's not going to do it, they're just not going to do it. The consequences fall on them. Seeing black women with white men is a realistic long-term outcome for black men. If you're going to continuously refuse to be transparent, and you and your significant other are suffering financially in a relationship, it's going to become unstable over time. The trust is going to erode. There is no financial cooperation. And without both, your relationship is going to struggle or cease to exist. Because it's one of those things you have to tackle once you decide you want to be in a relationship with someone and live together. If you didn't have to pay bills, that's one thing. But you have to pay bills. Expenses are what they are. And millions of people are doing it, but millions of people are failing at it as well. The many that are failing are refusing to build a foundation to be able to manage it. It's that simple. And if you look at our first couple here, they're going back and forth, anxiety and confusion. They're arguing over money. You can see that if you look at the next couple, it's like night and day. No confusion, transparency, no anxiety. Which one do you think a reasonable human being wants to live in? Which atmosphere? And are you willing to overlook color? Because if you walk around today, you can see many black women have overlooked color and chose transparency. They've chose the option to live with less anxiety. You can't get rid of anxiety altogether, but you can still control it to a certain extent. And confusion. Confusion is created. Confusion is created, sometimes purposely. But if you're transparent about what is happening, what you have and what you don't have, and you can be reasonable about the results by having or not having, then you can come together, you can work the issues out, you can both benefit from the success. And in these years, after so many opportunities, it looks like black women are looking for the success, the comfort, the knowledge that, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's what you have to do to survive on this planet. Sometimes you can't keep choosing things that aren't good for you. Sometimes you have to change the menu and find things that are better for you. Now, it's not the end of the world for those that are falling into the category of failure when it comes to relationships. 100% of the relationship is not about what you can do in the bed. The relationship is about what you can do overall to make the relationship work. And finances is a huge part of making a relationship work. But the finances have some key elements that allow it to function properly. And that's communication, trust, and honesty. You have to bring these things to the table, and you have to be able to be humble when you have and you have not. You have to also be flexible. If you see that you are gambling and winning, you can always add that into the mix of what you do. But if you gamble and lose, you have to be honest and take it out of the mix of what you do, because it's taken away from what you have. Now, you can imagine, you could have a wealthy white man with a gambling problem and still be able to pay his bills. It's not affecting you now, but you can do the math. If you lose 90% of your earnings over your lifetime, somewhere down the line, someone's not going to get paid. Unless you've got just enough money to cover your gambling debts and pay your bills, then some people will never see you had a gambling problem. That's the silver spoon option that so many white people have versus black people. That silver spoon option allows you to splurge and to spend and to waste. Those middle class people like myself that work check to check can't waste any money. We don't have money to gamble away. Bills come first because of priorities, and whatever's left over is whatever's left over, if there's anything left over. So overall, if you look at this entire segment, you'll see that the world is different. People are making choices, and those choices are based on security, transparency, and honesty. Be honest about where we are financially and what you're doing and what I'm doing with the money. Financially honest conversations. ZZ109FM, this is Elsie Jenkins. It is what it is. If you are part of the problem, you have to work towards being humble, understanding you have an issue, and eliminating what are those things that are causing you to be on the negative side of things. So as simple as Prize Picks, if you see that you're spending money on Prize Picks that needs to go to something else, the solution is simple. You have to stop playing Prize Picks. There's no other way around it. Unless you can find a way to win. And if you keep losing, you're going to keep making excuses to people as to where your money is. Or you can just be honest and be transparent and say, I am losing. I hope to win. In the meantime, I don't have the money to pay this bill. At least be honest and transparent so that the other person in your life can look at the situation and give you an honest response. Elsie Jenkins here, you takes care and looks at the world like I looks at it. It's changing because of actions that people are choosing.